Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Inside Genesee. I'm Shane Hodges, and today my guest is candidate for Genesee County Sheriff, Matt Kroll. How are you doing today, Matt?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
It's good to see you. It's good to see you.
Thanks for having me.
No problem. You know, it's exciting to me because with everything that's happened in our community and you see what's going on, there's a change coming. People are starting to pay attention. People who never voted are voting now. We're starting. It's plus with being an election year for president and everything, politics is at the top of everyone's mind, you know.
Yes,
A lot of changes need to be made. A lot of changes have been made. You know, and I think it's time, you know, especially with the sheriff's office in this county, we all know changes could be made for the better of this community.
Shane, I'm all for change. However, there's negative change and there's positive change. There's healthy change and there's unhealthy change. And it's time for healthy, positive change.
Yes, definitely, and it's such a critical time in our country as Americans, seeing what's going on with our police forces and our communities, that it seems like that line, the balance has gone, you know, and that's
Absolutely.
something that I think needs to be restored by us, the American people. We're bullied into this, we protect and serve, we are the people, America the strong, but if you look closely, it's the Americans who are being left out.
Well, they've even been removing protect and serve off of patrol cars and off of literature and all that. So it's no longer protect and serve. It's almost like revenue.
Right,
You know,
right.
What can we do to generate more revenue?
Right, and that's where you can tell the line has been blurred, because like we just were talking, every Monday morning in a district court near you, the cash registers are rolling. If not, fines, you know, and it's just abusive, I think.
Well, even the people that are incarcerated for traffic violations, they're not incarcerated because of the traffic violation. They're incarcerated because they didn't pay the fine.
Right, right. Imagine that, caging you up because you didn't have the money.
Exactly.
Right. It doesn't make sense, which will, you know, the ripple effects. You can't work, you can't make no money, so catch-22, you're stuck.
Exactly right.
And
I have a plan for that.
That's what we need. Someone who's ready to attack the issues that are relevant. Not, you know, there's the budgets and the cars and the parades, but what's relevant for day-to-day life for the
That's
regular
exactly
guy.
right. Exactly. First of all, we have the overcrowding as a result of that in the
Yes.
county jailhouse, and then we have abusive situations in the county jailhouse, and it's for against misdemeanor people. You know, it's
Right.
a traffic violator who's getting beat up in the jail, and he's being incarcerated in the first place. And let's say you impound the car, let him continue to work, let his family work it out with him, and
Right.
either give him a ride to work or help him get his car out of impound, rather than destroying your entire life and locking you up. Let's
Right.
lock the car up.
Right, exactly. That's one way to keep you off the road until you can afford to pay, and
That's
you
right.
still have a chance to survive.
Exactly.
You know, and that's
And to pay that fine if that's
Right.
what the judge imposes on.
right. That's exactly the type
That's
of
my plan.
refreshing
That's
change
part of my plan.
we need to see, and that's a great plan, you know, and I'm glad. That's mainly the reason why I wanted to get you in here and talk with you a little bit, is to let people know about Matt. What does Matt stand for, and what are his views and opinions on some of the things that are affecting our community. And I know for a fact, I've seen you myself, I know that you travel in a lot of the same circles, that you do a lot for water delivery, people of Flint, whatever you can do, you're there. And I thank you for that. You know, it's much appreciated. This water crisis is unimaginable.
I've been doing that long before I decided to run for sheriff. It's not something that I do because I am running for sheriff. It's
exactly.
not a campaign thing that I'm trying to
No.
do. I've been involved ever since January, and the reason why I got involved in water deliveries, one, my compassion for people, but I have a disaster organization. I've actually traveled all over the world, all over the country doing disaster relief work. I work with the red cleanups, just dealing with people's lives and dealing with them on an individual basis as they've lost loved ones and so on and so forth. And like I said, all internationally and nationally, and I've worked with a lot of different groups, including the Red Cross and United Way. And so why not, when a disaster happens in my hometown, go and deal with it.
Definitely.
Yeah, right, so since early January, I got involved, and I've been involved ever since. And it was as a result of being involved and seeing the lack of the county sheriff doing anything and almost snubbing his nose to the people of the city of Flint, and the people bringing the abuses, that was the biggest cry I heard on the streets handing out water. It was not about the poison water, it was about the abuses in the jail.
Right.
And so I began to ask, okay, so what's the county sheriff doing about it? And it was evident he wasn't doing anything
Right.
about
During, they made him switch after Dr. Mona, the Genesee
Exactly
County
right.
Health
Yeah.
Department
Bless her.
declared their emergency, and they made him for a couple weeks, and somehow he got around it by saying his jail passed all water tests, they're going back
Yeah.
on. So I want to make it clear that while we were in a state of emergency water crisis with federal funds, National Guard, the inmates that were volunteered to go out and pass out water had to go back in and drink
and
the same
drink
water.
the poisoned water.
Without filters, because you don't get filters on jails.
He even refused bottled water, from my understanding.
Okay.
The inmates weren't allowed to have bottled water, and people had offered the bottled water
Right.
to the inmates.
Right, and then I seen a video where he finally accepted some donations and started passing it out, finally. At the end.
And then got some of the deputies to volunteer and use the county vehicles for that, which is all honorable.
Right,
However, he turns around and sends the
Sends
bill
the bill
over
to
$500,000, $500 and some thousand.
Yes.
And,
that was amazing, wasn't it? For 1
Pretty
week's
incredible.
helping hand here, to
Yeah.
give us $500,000.
Yeah.
They're still working on getting that back.
when I travel around the world and around the country doing disaster work, I self-fund it. I don't even ask people for donations. Once in a while, I'll get somebody that'll kick in some money, but I self-fund it. I don't give anybody a bill afterwards. I just do it because of the compassion in my heart.
That's fantastic. Now, do you think you doing what you do, going to different communities, seeing different local governments in action, do you think that made you want to spur this change that I think needs to happen in our
Well,
country?
the change needs to happen, and I said from when I started hearing different things going on within the county, our local county, I said, we need to get rid of the sheriff that's there. He's not doing the job that he was elected to do. And therefore, I tried to encourage a number of other people, and you know a couple of those people, you sat in a couple of meetings with me, where I tried to encourage them to run for sheriff, and that I and some of the people that I am affiliated with would get behind them and encourage them and support them and campaign with them and volunteer with them. And all of those doors were closed.
Yes.
And so actually two of those, in one of the meetings you and I were at, looked at me and said, why don't you run?
Right.
And I'm just like, I'm not.
Here it
I'm
is.
never
Right.
in law enforcement. And
Right.
all of a sudden,
Here we
a
are.
series of events, including I felt that God spoke to my own heart and said, you're going to run for sheriff. And that was verified. My wife agreed, and here we are.
Here we are. It's fantastic, and this
now
is
we're
our
excited. Now I'm
community
excited. It's
coming
like,
alive.
let's do this.
Yes, it was fantastic. Just looking at the numbers in the primary, if you add them
You-
up,
You know, and
Add
the
'em
thing
up.
is those numbers that I got, those people did not have to vote for me.
No.
Because
No.
I was running unopposed.
Right.
But they took the time. Thank you. God
Right.
bless you. It's just incredible.
Right. Yes,
that
it is.
10,733 people took the time to scratch my name.
Yes, sir. And now, from my understanding, during the primary, you could only vote Republican or Democrat. So now that you can cross over in the
Now you
general
can cross
election,
over, yeah.
yes, it's going to
You
be
can vote all
very
Democrat, but when you come,
interesting.
and that's the other thing that I keep hearing time and time again, is we need change. We need to get rid of the current sheriff. He's not doing what he's supposed to be doing. So that's the consensus in the community is so you can vote on your Democratic line, but you can cross over and vote for me for sheriff.
Pro for sheriff. That is, and that's something that the community
And I'm not a
needs to know.
politician.
And
I
that's
don't represent government. I represent people.
That's what I wanted to, lead into. That's great. Tell us a little bit about you yourself. Where you from? What have you been
I was
involved
raised in Milford, Oakland County, just south
Okay.
of here. I moved to Genesee County 33 years ago. I met my wife here. We've been married for going on 32 years this September. I raised my family here in the Fenton, Lake Fenton area. We now reside in Linden. I've been a building contractor all over Genesee, Southeast Michigan mainly. And then I have the disaster organization, Blue Skies Global Disaster. And so we,
Yeah,
we're
you've
just,
been busy,
I've just-
right, all
I've just
over
been
the
here,
state,
you know,
so
this is
you-
home. And
Yeah.
Flint, you know, I want my county seat, because Flint is our county seat.
Yeah.
I want it to be that shining light, that beacon of hope for our community, not
Right.
just for the Flint residents, but for the entire county.
Right.
And bring Flint back to what it was meant to be in the very beginning.
Yeah, they say as Flint goes, so does Genesee. That is our
Absolutely.
county seat, and that would be, as a resident, a goal to have our county seat the strongest
Yes.
and coming back stronger than it ever was before in a new and diverse direction. Because one of the things, you can't expect different results doing the same thing. 20 years we've been doing the same thing,
and it
and
hasn't
we've
worked.
seen, you know, the effects of it. What boggles me is just a man. I have no law enforcement. I live in a community that is surrounded by 26 different police agencies, but yet the crime rate is out of control.
It's out
How?
of control.
I don't know.
And even Chief Johnson, the
From
chief
police
of
department, yes.
the chief, he asked the sheriff for assistance with 911 calls, not for traffic stops or for crowd control or anything, strictly for answering 911 calls. 911 calls is when the people of the community call because they're in distress, either somebody's sick or somebody's entering into their house unlawfully, something, a traffic
Right.
accident. So they call, and you expect that the sheriff would
Right.
say, yes, he'll assist the
Right.
city of Flint, and the sheriff adamantly said no.
Right, as well as the state, because
As
what
well
I
as
say
the
is the
state.
state does not
Exactly.
answer 911 calls.
That's right.
So,
Yeah.
and that's what people don't understand. You know, I've just recently understood myself the power of the sheriff. The sheriff has extreme powers over his jurisdiction and what
Absolutely.
goes on in his county.
Absolutely.
And that's what we need, someone who's going to stand up for the people and exercise that power when needed to be. When, for example, a water switch is happening, the sheriff says, hey, wait a minute, we need more reports. We need this to go right before we consider this.
The sheriff is the protector of the people, the
Yes.
defender of the liberties of the people. The sheriff is the only elected law enforcement in all of the United States. We don't elect any other law enforcement but the sheriff. And there's a good reason for that, because he's accountable then to the people.
Yes.
And it's up to the people to hold them accountable. My plan is to have a citizen advisory board, because power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Yes,
We've
sir.
seen that in the
Yes.
current administration here. So I want to be humble. I want to offer myself to the community and build Republican and Democrat, old and young, black and white, Hispanic, in part of that citizen advisory board that will say, Matt, you're screwing up, stop it. And
Right.
I'll adhere to that. I will offer myself and be humble enough to this advisory board to say, thank you, thank you, hold me to that.
Definitely.
And the same thing, I want the citizens. I will go and visit the communities one-on-one in the worst of the worst neighborhoods and in the best of the best neighborhoods and on the waters and in the streets and in the parks, because I want to know what the community is feeling about not only the sheriff's department, but the local police departments and how they're handling the situation, because the sheriff has power over them, the sheriff has power over state, the sheriff has power over federal. And if somebody's screwing up, it's the sheriff's responsibility to protect those people.
Exactly. Yes, and we've seen from our own personal example, it's not like it's happening all over the country. It's right here in our
It
backyard.
happens here.
And just like what's going on with Flint, I believe our community is diverse. It's full of strong people.
It
It's
is.
full of people that we
Beautiful
can
community.
use to rebuild this. Start somewhere new. Start the lead-free America. Start a
That's right.
revolution in
That's right.
community policing. You know, protecting and serving must go back on them cop cars. Because that's what you're here for.
That's it.
That's why we pay you. You're our security force, so we can sleep safely at night. You know, and there's just so many things that could happen, but it just seems to be passed over. And one of the things that bothers me as a member of this community is, you see it, so much funding comes here. all these millions
Oh,
and millions
where is
in
it?
grants,
Where is it
and
going?
it's never ever, it never reaches the
How much
bottom.
water line do we have established so far to
Right.
bring fresh water to the folks here?
Right, zero.
It's just absolutely incredible.
It's amazing, and they dumped it, national headlines, all that still.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and it's just a shame, and I want to thank you for stopping in today and a little quick video to
Thank
let
you for
people
having
know about yourself. Thanks so much. If you're interested, you guys have a website?
We do, yeah. You can check us out on the website, get more information, including my platform, and that would be www.mattcroll4sheriff, and that's KROL, numeral4sheriff.com.
All right, thanks a lot, man.
You can also check us out on
Facebook,
and,
yes, Twitter, Instagram, any of that stuff?
yeah, we do. I don't know how to operate any of that stuff, though. I'm learning.
Yeah,
Be
yeah,
patient with me.
definitely, definitely a curve.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. All right, we're good. Okay, we're